This trail can get busy, especially on the weekends. So be prepared for a crowd at the parking lot as well as on the trail here. This is a pretty broad and well-maintained trail, so you can actually take a stroller all the way to the top if that's something you're looking for. It should be broad enough to social distance. Unfortunately, you also encounter groups that have no concept of social distancing. So bring a mask, just in case. We're seeing some phlox in bloom here. That is probably the summer phlox, based on the bloom time now. And more poke milkweed. The jewel weeds are now getting started. Lots and lots of blooms on some of these. We've got lilies here. Unfortunately, these also look like they have the fungus. They do have buds. And here we have the first lilies in bloom. They do look a little weird. Yeah, this one also has the fungus on it, as you can see. Here we've got a nice one in bloom. This is a Turk's cap lily. What you see in the Turk's cap lilies is that green star in the center of the flower. That's how you can tell it apart, for example, from Carolina lily and others. We're getting some clouds blowing through now, so it's getting a little foggy on the trail. But we do have more lilies back there. And still lots of these rose bay rhododendrons in bloom. They're starting to lose the petals. Lots of phlox here again. I want to say that is the Phlox paniculator, the summer phlox. This plant, I've learned, is broadtooth hedge nettle. So it's in the mint family. Here we've got some hairy alumwood in bloom. So those leaves right there go along with those flowers.
Can you just shop scan my groceries? Yeah.
And some more saxifrage here. We've got a couple boulders here on the trail side with ferns and mosses. So these sporophytes there, those look like haircap moss again. And then we have some fern moss mixed in here. Now, despite having a well-maintained trail here, there's lots of evidence of people taking shortcuts. So here they've tried to block that off, but there's a path that people have trampled that goes all the way through the woods there, cutting the switchbacks. This type of stuff just promotes trail erosion. And of course, you're damaging the plants that are along the way. Yeah, don't do that. Don't cut the switchbacks. That just damages the trail. Here's the trail. And there's the shortcut. Sometimes I wonder if planting poison ivy along these shortcuts would help. Okay, so I had someone warning me about the poison ivy. That is not poison ivy. So just want to restore that plant's reputation. That plant climbing into the lilies here is a clematis. It's called Virgin's bower. Yes, it has trifoliate leaves, but they are actually opposite. If you look at this, poison ivy has alternate leaves. Now here we have something curious. You often see these, almost looks like somebody threw out a bunch of spaghetti. That is actually a parasitic plant. It's called dodder, and it climbs up on host plants, sucking energy out of them. To do that, it makes little haustoria, which basically tap into the phloem of the host plant and suck the juices out of it. So essentially they're vampire plants. They get so good at it, they eventually lose their roots. And all you see is these aerial parts. They're yellow because they don't do photosynthesis. They have no chlorophyll. Yeah, these will climb around the stems of the host plants. Eventually, the parasite will sap so much energy out of its host plant that the host plant dies at the end of the summer. In this case, it has latched onto one of those white bergamot plants. And later in the year, they will actually bloom. These are flowering plants. So you can start seeing the buds on there. Here we found what I think is called leatherflower, climbing up into one of these tall meadow rose. We've got black cohosh still in bloom here. So here we're at the top. So I've seen the view from the top before, but just to show you, I will climb that tower, take a look around. So that was 54 steps. So I can show you what the view looks like from up on the tower. Grandfather Mountain back there. Not much of a view towards this side.
What was interesting, I went through several different steps. Short, but no medication. And even
There are fruits on the maple here. This one has me stumped. I'm not sure right now which species of maple this is. The leaves just look odd. They're more wrinkly than what I'm used to seeing on maple leaves. The sun is out now, and some of the haze has lifted. So we have a much better view here of Grandfather Mountain now. So we're back at the parkway. People are starting to park along the road. So yeah, this area gets busy.